Good day, everybody. I hope that you are well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 3 English lesson on word patterns. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts. We're doing grade 3. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of word patterns. All right. So our chapter is, so we're doing word patterns, right? All right. So our chapter is word patterns. Our subject is English Language Arts. We're doing grade 3. And then the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of word patterns, it's word pattern analogies and word pattern sentences. So that is going to be our lessons for today under our chapter of word patterns. All right. So when it comes to word patterns, right? Word patterns it's almost like a pattern that you kind of follow when it comes to specific words, right? And how do we even know what pattern to follow? We specifically look at the suffixes, right? So words with the suffixes, they follow patterns, right? So word with suffixes follow patterns. And remember, a suffix is a word, or it can be letters that you add at the end of your base word, right? So a suffix is a word, or we can say it's letters that you add at the end of your base word. And we are going to look at a few examples, during our lesson as to how we can identify those words as well as the word patterns, right? So when it comes to, for example, looking at the suffix that basically follow patterns, then noticing those patterns, it can help you to recognize the words that act the same way, and it will also help you to figure out the meanings of these words, because you will, for example, have a word you'll for example have a word, right? And then, or two words with the same suffix, and then it will mean that, sometimes the meaning will be similar. Or let's say, for example, you just have your specific word, your base word, but now when we add the suffix to that base word, and then you'll see that the meaning of that word is kind of still the same. All right, and if we look at the example, right, of word patterns, for example, look at the word happy. If we look at the word happy, right, remember we said if you look at these patterns, um then you'll be able to recognize words that act the same way, and it will also help you to figure out the meanings, right, or their meanings. All right, so if you look at the word happy, right, so happy, you are happy, you have lots of joy in your heart, you're smiling. So happy, right? If we look at a suffix that is added to happy, we have happiness, right? So happiness. The same with cozy. So cozy ends with a Y. But if we add the suffix to that word, we will have coziness. It's like adding ness to that word, right? But now, if we try and figure out the meanings of these words, then we can see happiness. You see, happy, if we add, so we have the word happy, but as soon as we add the ness, the suffix ness to that word, as well as cozy, and we add the suffix ness to those words, then we'll see that the meanings are kind of, it basically is the same. So it's the same as if we look at happiness, right? Because we added the suffix to that word. So happiness. Happiness is basically the feeling of being happy. It's like saying happiness is the feeling of being happy, right? And all we did was we added the suffix to that word happy. So we added the suffix ness to the word happy. The same like we added the suffix ness to cozy. And now we can see that coziness is the feeling of being cozy. So it's the same as saying happy or happiness over here is the feeling of being happy. Coziness is the feeling of being cozy, right? And that basically gives us the idea, right? It's like us recognizing words that acts the same way or that kind of acts the same way, and basically that helped us to figure out the meanings of those words, right? So once again, when it comes to word patterns, right? Word patterns is basically the suffixes that you add to another word, because words with suffixes, they follow patterns. So it's like by looking at the suffix or being able to identify a word with a similar suffix, right, can also help you to figure out the meanings of those words. And we're going to look at a few examples of those words, then we will complete the patterns, as well as we'll complete the sentences that matches the models, right, where we'll be able to complete, right? Look at, here's a little activity, right? It says, remember we add basically the same suffix, or the suffixes will kind of follow a specific pattern of being the same, right? It's the same as California, right? If we were to add the suffix to that word, only in, now it changes from California to Californian. Meaning, if you are from California, you are a Californian, right? Now, the same with Virginia. If we were to add the suffix to that, to Virginia, if you are from Virginia, then you are what? What is the word? If you are from Virginia, you are what? Like a citizen, basically. Like I said, if you are from California, then you're Californian, and we added the suffix in. This is now word patterns. So if the word pattern for Virginia is the same, then it means that if you are from Virginia, you are what? Yes, well done. So if you're from Virginia, then you are Virginian. Well done. So all we did was we added the suffix in to that word to basically show us the word pattern. That is the words with the suffixes. You see, we just, in that first, the two words, we added the suffixes in to that word, and that basically helped us to follow the pattern. Also, we were able to find the meaning of the word, because you are from California, that makes you a Californian. You are from Virginia, that makes you a Virginian. I am from, for example, South Africa, right? So which means that that makes me a South African, right? Or I am from the continent of Africa, and that makes me African. So that makes me African, right? So all we did was we followed the pattern and we added in in. You are from Canada. If you're from Canada, then that makes you what? A citizen. Then you are what? If you're from Canada, then you are what? If we were to add only the suffix and follow the word pattern. So if you're from Canada, then you are what? You're a citizen. So if you're from Canada, then we can say you're Canadian. Yes, well done. You're Canadian. All we did was we added an in. If you are, for example, from if you are from Nigeria, if you're from Nigeria, then that makes you what? Well done. So if you're from Nigeria, then that makes you a what? If you are from Kenya, then that makes you what? And if you're from India, for example, then that makes you what? I just want us to get the pattern and then we will continue. Yes, well done. If you're from Nigeria, it makes you Nigerian. Well done. If you're from Kenya, then you're what? Kenya. Well done. If you're from Kenya, you are Kenyan. And if you're from India, last one, and then we're moving on. If you're from India, remember all we do is we add the N, the suffix N to that word, and that will basically show us the word pattern. Yes, well done. So if you're from India, you are Indian. Well done. So do you guys get in the idea of basically the word pattern that we follow, right? Because the word with suffixes, they follow patterns. And as you can see, is the suffix that we basically just added was the in, right? Yeah, by happy and by cozy, the suffix that we add or that we basically followed was nis. That was the suffix that we followed, right? So now if we continue, look at the word play. So we if you play, right, then that makes you a player. So all we did was we added the er. We added the suffix er to that word. So if you play a game, you play something, that makes you a player of the specific game, right? We added the suffix er. So now, if you design something, you're designing things, then that makes you a what? Look at the suffix to follow the pattern. So if you play any game, then you're a player in that game. Now, if you design something, then what are you? Look at the suffix in order for us to follow the pattern. For example, you play football, that makes you a football player. You play netball, you become a netball player. You play basketball, you become a basketball player. You play hockey, you become a hockey player, right? Yes, so if you design things, you design clothes, you design whatever things, right? Then that makes you a designer. Well done. It makes you a designer. And as you can see, the pattern that we followed, right, is the suffix er that we just followed, right? Well done. All right, look at the last one. And then we're going on to how to match the models within a specific sentence. Gold, right? If something is gold or I have a gold ring, right? Then we can say it is also a golden ring, right? So if you have a gold ring, then we can also say it's a golden ring and we added an E in. The suffix E in we add, right? But now if you have something that is made of wool, then we can fix it. For example, the jersey is made of wool, right? Then we can say you have a jersey. A what jersey can we say you have on? If I buy a gold ring, then I say I have a golden ring, right? Or a golden watch. If I have a jersey that is made of wool, then I can say I have a jersey. Remove the D. Remember here we have a D for gold. The only thing that we added was EN. We only added EN. So remove the D. So remove the D. Because remember the D in golden is because of gold EN. So wool. Wool. Yes, well done. So which means that if your jersey is made of wool, then well done. We can say it is a woolen jersey. Well done. So, do you see the pattern that we follow, right? When it comes to words with suffixes, right? There we have golden, we added an en. So now if something is made of wool, then we also add en, woolen. And that is basically the pattern that we have followed. Well done. So once again, when it comes to word patterns, right? These we called word pattern analogies, where you just add, for example, a the you look at the words and you follow the patterns, right? And remember, noticing these patterns, it can help you also to recognize the word that acts the same as that word. And when we say the words that acts the same, it's the same as saying if you're from California, you're Californian. If you're from Virginia, you're Virginian, right? Those words you can see it acts the same. The same with player. If you play a game, you a player. If you make something, you a designer. Right? So these words they you can recognize them because they act the same way. And also by adding or following a pattern, the suffix pattern, it can also help you to figure out their meanings, right? Because now the meanings are kind of similar because they also act the same way. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are now also going to complete the sentence, right? So that it can match the model of that words. So I'm going to underline the word, right? With probably the suffix, and then in the next sentence you're gonna have to identify the other word that I'm also going to identify. So for example, look at this. A repairable a repairable lamp is one that you can repay, right? Something that you can repair is repairable. We added able. We added able. So a repairable lamp is one that you can repair, meaning you can repair a repairable lamp. So now here a lamp is one that you can break. Look at the word break. If we add the suffix able, if we add the suffix able to break, then what is our model word that we can add there to complete the sentence? For example, a repairable lamp is one that we can repair. We added able. So now a lamp is one that can break. Meaning something that break is all right. So if a repairable lamp is one that you can repair, and we look at the suffix able or able, then it means that yes, well done. A breakable lamp. A breakable lamp is one that you can break. Meaning if something can break, it is breakable. Well done. You see how we basically can use the word to kind of identify a specific word, and then you use that same word that you have identified to go back, and then you can see that it matches your model word. So well done. So all you do is you look at the suffix, right? Look at the suffix, and then if you need to also find a word where we have to add the suffix, then you just basically look at that word and you identify it in order for it to be correct. All right, the next one says a brownish sweater is somewhat brown in color. Brown. A brownish sweater is somewhat brown in color. Meaning that if you have a brown sweater or somewhat brown sweater, then we can say it is brownish. We added ish, the suffix ish to that word. Now the next one says a sweater is somewhat gray in color, meaning that a somewhat gray in color sweater is what is that word that we can identify? So you have a brownish sweater is somewhat brown in color. Then we can say a sweater is somewhat gray in color. I even underline the word where you just need to basically add the suffix to. All right, and if we were to identify the correct word, then yes, if a brownish sweater is somewhat brown in color, then well done. A grayish sweater is somewhat gray in color. Well done. All right, the next one, and then we're going on to a plus students.ca. Look at this. So now we're not going to identify the we're not going to identify the word that has a prefix to it, a suffix to it. You are now going to look at the word that let's say the root word that can stand on its own without the suffix, right? So here it says a flavorless drink doesn't have any flavor, meaning if there's no flavor, it is flavorless. A flavorless drink doesn't have any flavor, meaning if you don't have any flavor, it is flavorless. Now look at the next sentence. A colorless drink doesn't have any meaning if it doesn't have any then it is colorless. What is that root word that we need to identify? All right, and if we were to identify the root word, remember a root word is a word that can stand on its own without a suffix, without a prefix. Well done. If a flavorless drink doesn't have any flavor, meaning if there's no flavor, then it's flavorless. Then we can also say a colorless drink doesn't have any color, meaning if it doesn't have any color, it is colorless. So well done. So that is correct. All right, well done. All right, so now let's go to aplusstudents.ca. And before we go to aplusstudents.ca, remember we're doing word patterns. It's like these patterns that we follow specifically with by looking at the suffixes of the word, right? And remember, a suffix is either a word or we can say it's letters that you add to the end or at the end of a root word. Root words, they stand on their own, right? And when it comes to words with suffixes that follow patterns, then it's usually words that can help you recognize words that act the same way and they help you to figure out their meanings. Well done. So now we're going to aplusstudents.ca and we are going to identify words, word pattern analogies, and word pattern sentences. All right, so now we're not gonna go over the whole explanation again because we already said that words with suffixes they follow patterns, and we made an example of happiness is the act of feeling is the feeling of being happy as well as coziness is the feeling of being cozy. Now we're just going to do our activity and then we are going on to our test. Look at this one. It says that we need to complete the pattern rock, right? A rock. We can say a rock is, for example, rocky. Now look at foam. If we were to look at the suffix that we just added, right? Then foam. Then what did we add there? What is the suffix? If we have foam, or we add foam to something, then we can say it is what. So if something is made of rock or there's lots of rocks, then we can say it is rocky. If there's a lot of foam, for example, then we can say it is what. All right, yeah, so if there's a lot of foam, then yeah, we can say it is foamy. Well done. So we basically just added the suffix y. Well done. Well done. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, it says complete the pattern. If you, for example, do something with wood, right? Then we can say it is wood work. You're doing something with wood, then we can say it is wood work. You're either making chairs, you're making tables, you're building something with wood. We call that woodwork. But now, if you're doing something with iron, if you're doing something with iron, then what do we call that? If you're doing something with iron, making things with iron, then what do we call that? Look at the specific, look at the suffix in order for you to follow the pattern. All right, yes, well done. So, which means that we basically added the suffix work. So, which means that if we work with iron or do things with iron, then it is iron work. Well done. All right, let's look at the last one and then we're going on to our test. All right. If you go and watch a something where there's a lot of music in, all right, then we call that, then we say that is a that is musical. Maybe they're using different instruments or they're playing different instruments, then we say that is musical, all right? But now, if you are into nutrition, right, and you maybe eat well, follow the pattern of certain things that you eat, then we can say it is what? What type of food are you, or can we specifically say that you are eating? All right. Now, remember musical. Music ends with a C, so which means that that is why we have musical. But with musical, all we did was we added the pattern of the suffix al. Yes, well done. So if there's anything to do with nutrition and you're following a diet, then we can say it is nutritional. Well done. All right. So now let's go and now we're going to our we're going on to our test, right?
Working.
Okay, so we're going to complete the pattern where we are going to specifically look at the suffix. So, for example, if you are from California, right, that makes you Californian. But now, if you're from Virginia, right, then what is the answer? Is it option one or is it option two? Is it option one, Virginiately? You are Virginiately, or is it option two, Virginian? Which one is correct? So option one or option two. If you're from California, it makes you Californian. But if you're from Virginia, does it option one makes you Virginiately, or option two it makes you Virginian? All right, so which means that our option or our answer is yes, well done. You are Virginian. Option two. Well done. All right, the next one says music. If you're into music, You are very fond of music. That means you constantly either follow or into musical things, right? But now, nutrition. If you follow a diet, you're all about nutrition, food, eating right. Does it mean option one, it is nutritional, or option two, it is nutritional or nutritionally? All right, and if we were to choose the correct option, then yes, nutritional is correct. Well done. All right, the next one says end. We need to complete the pattern. End, right? So something is coming to an end, right? Or we say it is just endless, right? Or there's no end to something. It is endless. There's no end. Now, the same with purpose. If we feel like there's no purpose, does it mean option one is it's purposeless, or option two it is purposeful? Which one is correct? Purposeless or purposeful? All right, and if we were to choose the correct option, then yes, purposeless. And we basically followed the suffix pattern of less. All right, the next one says child. All right, child. If you are extremely childlike, then we can say it's childish. But now, if you are, I don't know if you can say, you are cartoonist, does it make you cartoonish, or does it make you cartoonly? Option one, cartoonish, or option two, cartoonly? Which one is correct? All right, then if you were to choose the correct option, then yes, cartoonish is correct. Well done. All right, we're going to look at the last one and then we're going on to the sentences, like word pattern sentences. Dark, right? If something is extremely dark, then we can say, like, we're in the darkness. But now, grateful. If you are extremely grateful for something, does it mean it is gratefulness or gratefully? Which one is correct? Grateful or grateful-ish? All right, and if we were to choose the correct option, then yes, gratefulness. We followed the pattern of ness. Well done. All right, so now word pattern sentences. We're going to complete the sentence so that it matches the model. I'm only going to do one, and then I'm going to do this one. We're only going to do one, and then we are going on to our test. Okay, it says a pointless story doesn't have a point. If it doesn't have a point, right? There's no point to the story. Then it means that the story is pointless, right? Pointless. But now, an story doesn't have an end. So if something doesn't have an end or story doesn't have an end, then we can say it is a what story. So if a pointless story doesn't have a point, then we can say a what story doesn't have an end. Like there's no end. Ooh, yeah, there's no end. I didn't give the answer. All right, so which means that if there's no end, then we can say it is endless. Well done. Endless is correct. All right, so now we're going on to our test. And well done so far. All right, so we need to complete the sentence so that it matches the model, right? So a flavorless drink doesn't have any flavor, right? There's no flavor. So which makes that flavorless. So then we can say a colorless drink doesn't have any what? It doesn't have any color, uh, or it is doesn't have any colorless. Option one, colorless, or option two, color. Which one is correct? So a flavorless drink doesn't have any flavor. A colorless drink doesn't have any what? Colorless or any color. All right, so if we were to choose the correct option, then it doesn't have any color. Well done. The next one says a repairable lamp is one that you can repair, right? But now, a what? Do we say a breakable lamp is one that you can break? Or do we say a break lamp is one that you can break? Which one is correct? Follow the pattern of the suffix. So we need to follow the pattern of the suffix. Let's try again. Remember, a repairable lamp is one that you can repair. That means that a what lamp is one that you can break. Is it option one, a breakable lamp, or option two, a break lamp? All right, then if we were to choose the correct option, then yes, option one, a breakable lamp is one that you can break. Well done. Well done. All right, so this is the end of our lesson on word patterns. Remember, we say that word patterns, it follows patterns. So we look at the suffix. A suffix is either a word or letters that you add at the end of your base word. And if you maybe look at another word, then the patterns specifically of the suffix, you just basically have to follow. Then it can you'll even be able to find out or identify the meaning of a word, right? Or it will be able to help you understand a sentence better. So well done. This is now the end of our lesson. Thank you very much everybody for joining, and I really hope you're going to have a good day further. So till next time, goodbye.